Illegal and destructive fishing.
Good morning. My name is Pramal Silin and we are here today to discuss about the illegal and destructive fishing. But before we proceed further, do you have any ideas about illegal fishing and destructive fishing? And how this affects our environment? So, illegal and destructive fishing is the one of the issues or problems in coastal environment that we are facing today. And but the question is, what is illegal fishing? Illegal fishing refers to fishing goings on that are carried out by overseas vessels with no authorization in waters under the control of another state, or which breach its fisheries rules and regulation in some other ways. In other words, is that kind of fishing activities that are contravenous to fisheries regulations and law, like refusing to acknowledge fishing times and fish harvesting in marine or water protected areas. Most of the illegally harvested fish are sold in the black markets, were reported to be in the ranges of 14 to 33% of the globe's legal catch. And let's have a look at various causes that influence illegally fishing and done in different ways. So here are the various methods of illegal fishing that the fishermen are used today that can destroy in our coastal environment. So first is the bottom trawling. What is the bottom trawling? Bottom trawling is the one of the most damaging method of fishing. It is an industrial technique that use huge net weighed down with a weed ballast that get dragged down in the seabed, collecting and smashing everything that is on the way from fish to aquatic plants. Then number 2 is bycatch. Bycatch means accidentally catching numerous types of aquatic life in the process of catching other fish. It can also consist of the raw size of the extended fish, other creatures that do not get eaten, or the ones which are not in demand, or the species that are almost extinct, including particular birds, aquatic mammals, and turtles. And the number 3 is using of explosives or blast fishing. So the use of explosive for blasting fish is a method that has been used for years. And the explosion have the ability to create very big craters that range from 10 to 20 square meters of the seabed. So apart from killing the extended fish, they almost kill the other neighboring species. When the coral reefs are destroyed, the construction may take years. The number 4 is ghost fishing. So ghost fishing refers to the deliberate or intentional leaving of fishing object and water body. So this is also the fishing nest to continue to catch fish and other creatures, big and small, and the fish eventually die from overtightness of suffocation after a long struggle to get to the top of breath. And also this is the act of abandoning or losing fishing nets at the sea has been intensified by recent fishing goings on and the introduction of synthetic fishing nets that are very durable. Number 5 is cyanide fishing. So cyanide fishing involves divers crushing cyanide tablets into plastic squirts, bottles of the water and puffing the concoctions to confound and confine live fish in the coral reefs. That's also the method is mostly practiced all over the Southeast Asia, regardless of being illegal in a lot of nations in the sea and the area. It is also the method was initially used in the 1960s in the Philippines so as to obtain live fish for selling to the other countries to aquarium owners. Also the market that has tremendously grown in the present day. Also, the method is used in supplying fish for in every other countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, restaurant, or so on and so forth.
Number 6 various methods of illegal fishing is the Moro Ami. What do you mean by Moro Ami? Okay, this fishing method is mostly used in Southeast Asia. It involves using a huge encircling net with a number of founding toes. Normally, whittly stones or cement blocks attached on the surface to pound fish out of coral reefs. Fishermen found the coral reefs with the cement blocks carrying the fish out. The number 7 is the kayak as. Kayak as is also known as bahan, bahitlukay, lukayan, gillnet or gelnet, ringnet or bahan. Kayak as is a local smaller version of the Moro Ami with bamboo or tree trunks and coconut leaves or other materials as carelines to drive the fish out of the coral reefs. Number 8 is the overfishing. When more fish are caught that can be naturally reproduced by the remaining population is called overfishing. Overfishing. Overfishing is a negative impact on biodiversity because every living organisms play a special role in keeping the balance of an ecosystem. The number 9 is electrofishing. From the word electro that comes in our minds is electricity. Using electricity generated by dry cell batteries, electric generators, or other sources. This illegal method kills, stupefy, disable, or render unconscious fish and other aquatic animals. The possession of any of the above shall constitute a presumption that the same was used for fishing. And the next is the obnoxious or poisonous substances. Plant extracts chemicals such as cyanide and other substances raw or processed are used in this method to kill, stupefy, disable, or render unconscious fish and other aquatic animals. The use of plant extracts to eradicate predators in fish ponds must be within acceptable limits and that must not cause poisoning in neighboring waters. Synthetic pesticides just like Preston and Aquadin are not allowed in fish pond. Why? Because pesticides can destroy fish, not just only fish but the coral reefs or other living organisms that belong to the sea or ocean. And the last but not the least is keeping undersized or oversized fish. Length limits ensure that a smaller population of fish is eligible for harvest. This reduces pressure on juveniles and larger spawning size fish needed to repopulate. For me, as a student, it is okay to harvest big fish than the small fish because small fish will still grow and they will still strength. And we all know that fish is very important, especially for the next generation.
We're here today to discuss our causes of illegal fishing that affects our marine life. Illegal fishing is highly fueled by the lack of proper fishing zone management as well as the lax fishing policies. And here are the some causes of illegal fishing that affects our marine lives. Number 1, lax regulatory system, that is issuance of fishing permits. Number 2, lack of enough funds or resources for surveillance and tracking. 3, economic and social circumstances. 4, lack of proper servicing, control, and surveillance activity. Number 5, high demand for IUU fishes. Number 6, low risk and high return. Number 7, supervision is costly. And 8, authorities lack interest. And that's the 8 causes of illegal fishing that affects our marine life. Why should you care about illegal fishing? You should care about illegal fishing because It threatens the health and therefore the availability of wild-caught fish, a basic source of protein for almost 3 billion people around the world. It also impacts the whole ocean ecosystem by removing key species and by using destructive, forbidden practices. It often targets or takes a bycatch threatened species such as shark, seabirds, or sea turtles. Illegal fishing likely impacts you in some way with its wide-ranging economics and social costs. It diverts revenue from legitimate, often developing economies, diminish a food source of dependent coastal societies, and threatens the sustainability of fish stocks. The lack of proper regulation of fishing vessels also heightens security challenges for coastal countries.
Good day everyone, today I will discuss about destructive fishing and how it will affect on our environment. But before we further discuss about the topic, do you have any idea what is destructive fishing? When we talk about destroying the oceans, most people think destruction via pollution. Although chemical dumplings on plastic have a drastic effect on marine life and ecosystem, it is very important to consider another major issue causing the detrimental effects on marine systems. This issue is destructive fishing methods. Destructive fishing includes practices that leaves marine populations irreversibly damaged and can destroy entire habitats for fish and other organisms. According to World Wildlife Fund or WWF, there will be no more fish left in oceans in 2048. This is because more than 30% of the world's fisheries have been pushed beyond their biological limits. Therefore, we need stricter regulations and laws to prevent this disaster. Destructive fishing, it is mostly done in underdeveloped countries which didn't have regulations to fishermen to follow. These methods are used because they're effective in getting a large amount of fish in a short period of time, saving fishermen's time and effort. Some dangerous methods include overfishing, blast fishing, bottom trawling, and cyanide fishing. There are three of the most commonly used destructive fishing practices and their effects on marine ecosystem in which they are used. First is bottom trawling. Though declared illegal in some regions, bottom trawling continues to be one of the most destructive practices in the entire fishing industry. Road chopper trawls with large reels or rollers are used to make fishing more efficient, but too often are used in vulnerable reef areas. The trawls crush, scars, and destroy reefs, leaving more than a trail of rubble in their wake. Corals run over by these trawlers just once suffer long-lasting, sometimes irreparable damage. Areas with heavy bottom trawling have seen the coral coverage diminish by as much as 90%, leaving young fish without a habitat to mature in.
Cyanide fishing. Common in the waters around China and Singapore, this technique involves pouring large amount of sodium cyanide into the water. The cyanide stuns the fish and makes them easier to catch. The catch is then supplied to restaurants in Singapore and Hong Kong, or to sold aquarium enthusiasts. Aside from poisoning the fish, this destructive fishing practice destroys organisms that are vital to the marine ecosystem, including the coral that provide food and habitat for a variety of marine ecosystems. For every fish caught with this technique, 1 square meter of coral reef is destroyed. Next is Muroami. Also common in Southeast Asian waters, the practice of Muroami uses a large net and several panding devices. Typically, heavy stones or large cement blocks affixed to cranes over the surface of the sea. Fishermen pan the reefs with the stones and blocks to scare the fish out of the sea. According to Ocean Conference, the current effective and sustainable solutions, as supported by peer-reviewed science,
emphasize a focus on addressing the needs of the indigenous community as the priority. This required three major points of focus. So first is the establishment of sustainable alternative livelihood with environmental education and awareness programs. Second is marine habitat enhancement and reinforcement. Third is science to identify the resources needed and to guide the effort by monitoring, surveying, and measuring the effectiveness of the eradication measures employed. That's all. Thank you.
So, as we can see, the most common methods that used in illegal and destructive fishing are the bottom trawling, cyanide fishing, and moru ami. In conclusion, why it is important to protect the fish and the ocean? Because oceans are essential component of the Earth's ecosystem, a source of biodiversity, food, and life. According to Food and Agriculture Organization or FAO, over 40% of the world population lives within 100 kilometers of the coast. Better management of the ocean resources is thus crucial to ensuring global food security. So, we need clean and healthy oceans to support our own health and survival. Even if we don't live anywhere near to the sea or ocean, each and every one of us can make a difference. It's time to take action. Think about which threats to the oceans concern you the most, or think about which oceans plants, animal species, habitats, or ecosystem you want to conserve, protect, and restore locally and globally. And that's all. Thank you for watching.